This is Between Two Phones.
John Nelms and Eric Truax here between two phones. Thank you so much for watching. We're actually at our Zoom Spaces Sales Competency held in Chicago, Illinois. Actually, the lovely city of Schaumburg has hosted us for this event. If you were fortunate enough to be a part of it, thank you for joining us. We have some great sponsors here, including our title sponsor, HP Poly, who is here to show off. What are we showing off today?
We are going to show off the Poly Studio G62. The E70 camera. It's going to be connected over the network, not USB connected. We're going to pair that bad boy over IP. And we have our E60, our new pan-tilt zoom optical 4K camera.
So a lot of products here sitting on this table, and some exciting, I'm actually really excited about the TC10 as well that you have there.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's got the lights on the side. I guess I'll pass the mic around here and allow everyone to just kind of chime in. We're actually in a noisy environment right now, and it'll be interesting to see how well this turns out audio-wise this week. We won't be able to hear.
Can't hear me right now.
Can't hear a word you're saying. Your lips are moving. Here you go, Fraser.
Well, thank you. Really excited to be here for this week, and we had a chance to really showcase really the next generation integrator system. So, which is really all about being modular, and really that's something both Zoom and Poly share, is that it's really about extending to the small spaces, the personal spaces, all the way up to the boardroom, or even beyond to events. And the G62 is perhaps our next generation system that lets you do that in a meaningful way. And so it is this small. So I'm going to show you that with my phone to give you a sense of perspective. It's really tiny. It's magnetic. So you can put this in the back of the TV. You can put it on a cart. You can put it on using our fastener to be able to fix to an area wherever you'd like to. And it is PoE powered, so you don't have to worry about big, bulky bricks and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Turn it upside down. That's a tough magnet.
Yeah, it's a very tough magnet. So, and it actually doesn't require the fastener to magnetize, so the magnets are on the codec. So that means you can slap it right on TV. We have a funny thing that we've actually put it on a refrigerator. You do wherever you want. It's pretty cool. And it lets you take advantage of all the power of Zoom. So it could be a Zoom kiosk, it could be a personal system, it could be a room system, it could do 3-screen, it could do all of those capabilities right in this little guy. Let you choose whatever camera and microphone you want.
So, now correct me if I'm wrong, this has got to be a big push for HP Poly to really, overuse this term, but democratize the installation access setup of what used to be these extremely complicated AV companies that you would come in and pay for contractors, right, to come in and do all this extra work, powering and wiring. And now that we're over standard Ethernet, easily carefully placed magnetic modules, plugs that I'm used to dealing with. I look at the back of that, I see an HDMI plug, I see Ethernet plugs, I see a USB-C plugs. These are things I know.
Yeah.
That's a great democratization, bringing it to the masses and you're taking extremely advanced technology to use that on the back end. That to me is pretty exciting.
Yeah. It went to tech school, it went to beauty school, and it got a price haircut. So it did all three of those things. So it is starting in 1999, which is over half the price of what the previous generation system is. And it lets you leverage something called modular room from Poly. But I'll pass it over to Mark to talk a little bit about modular room.
Yeah, modular room is an approach that we've actually been a road we've been going down for quite some time, many, many years now, right? So it started way back with even the Trio pairing with a Visual Plus as an example, the TC8 controller pairing over the network with our Poly OS devices. And we're expanding that with this. We have a Netgear AV switch that we've certified and we have a custom configuration for here that allows us to plug in any of these additional peripherals in the conference room to the G62 codec over the network. So this switch, it is not on the customer's network. We all know that would be a bad thing, right? It is completely segmented network. It is just there to be able to plug in additional cameras and audio peripherals and be able to pair those with the G62 codec over the network, so we don't have to be running USB cables or have USB extenders, et cetera, et cetera. Just really simplify that installation and cost, right, for the customer.
Perfect. Thanks so much. And if you want to know more information, talk to your channel manager. Let's pitch it back to our other selves. We got Bobby on here with us, who works for Zoom.
Label out on
And-
the name tag.
Label out, because we're here at the Zoom Spaces Competency. Bobby, tell us what you got set up back here.
So, hey everyone, so what we're showing here at our booth at this station is Conference Room Connector, or the other CRC. So, as you may know, for a Zoom meeting, you can join via the Zoom desktop app, the Zoom mobile app, of course, our native Zoom rooms, running the native Zoom room app, or a web browser. We also support web join that way. But what about for your customers who have an older conference room? Maybe one of these tried and true Poly Group Series 500 can talk SIP, can talk H.323, but it doesn't speak natively into Zoom. So what we've created here at Zoom is a feature called Conference Room Connector. And I'll show you what the architecture looks like here. So super simple, as you can see, basically this is a gateway. It's 100% in our cloud, and it allows for your standards-based endpoints, whether it's your internal or it could be an external business partner, coming in with a standards-based endpoint and dial in to SIP and H.323. So joined right into the Zoom meeting. So super simple, doesn't require any type of additional hardware on premises. As long as the endpoints can call out to the internet, they can connect to a Zoom meeting.
Love that. You see the high production value when I walk up to the camera and I move it around. Do you like that, Eric?
I love that. It just shows to go all the preparation and time we take into doing this. So I do got a question. So where's the best use case for this? Is it a migration story for customers that have old equipment coming to new equipment? They don't do it all at once. Is it for long lasting coexist, multiple environments? Like, what's the best use case for CRC?
Yeah, Eric, that's a really good question. So what we're seeing is really, it's truly for helping customers migrate. You've come to decide on a meeting conferencing platform. Turns out it's Zoom, and you have this existing assets that you've got deployed. You got a lot of them. You've looked at Zoom rooms. You think, hey, that's great, but I can't flip over my hundreds of rooms in a single weekend. It's going to take some time. Also, you might need to kind of sweat those assets and be able to get a little bit more use out of it before you have budget to refresh. So absolutely, in this case, this is a tool to help you migrate, allow these conference rooms to join Zoom meetings until you're ready to refresh and get the full Zoom experience.
Thanks so much, Bobby. Appreciate you joining us. Back to the studio. Morning, y'all.
Good morning.
Very special edition of Between Two Phones, where we've got the post-event blues. And I mean, you can see from the setting behind us. Actually, we've got we've had a good event this week. We're all three very tired after our Zoom Spaces Competency Boot Camp. We actually held this in Chicago, Illinois. The lovely city of Schaumburg hosted us, but we are at the Schaumburg Marriott. It reminds me of an SNL skit here. They were just hanging out at the Marriott.
The Oracle Conquest.
Got a new mic for these remotes. Hopefully we sound a little bit better. But you can see there's a lot of stuff, service corridors, stuff like that. I wanted to talk about a lot of people go through having to do something like this on a regular basis, where you've got an event, you've been out of the office for a while. For me, this morning was catch-up time. It was not only dismantle time, but I was trying to catch up on email and chats and phone calls and voicemails and things that had come in over the last 3 days of us being, well, we were the speakers, the content providers during this time. Tony, what did you do while you were here?
I was instrumental in testing the acoustic fence capabilities on the Poly gear, which was phenomenal for most folks because they'd never heard of it.
Yeah, it was great. I think I've got some B-roll playing right now of us showing that, actually. So
1, 2, 3, 4.
And the cool thing, we actually had stations here at this one, so every one of us was working a station. What were you working?
I did the hybrid office demonstration. So we had our hybrid office products, which are workspace reservation, visitor management, virtual reception. So we've taught people how to set these up a few times. We've shown them the admin, but then we go right into showing them the next thing that we're teaching them: Zoom Phone, contact center, whatever it is. So we actually had a station right in this area, where we said, no, you're going to see the product. You're going to use it. You're going to touch the kiosk. So Eric Truex here talking about hybrid office, what that looks like from the Zoom solution. We have with us an HP Poly all-in-one system, as well as a Poly CCX 700 setup as a common area phone. Zoom Phone appliance, really cool. There's three really main functions that we're going to have as far as a Zoom Room kiosk mode: virtual receptionist, visitor management, and workspace reservation. What this allows us to do: tap that button. I can decide who I'm going to call. Am I calling a Zoom contact center video flow? Am I calling a user, a Zoom room? Or am I calling an endpoint through a phone integration? I'm also able to go in here and do workspace reservation. So if I'm walking in the office, I'm trying to find a place to sit. Well, what if I want to sit right here? Guess what? I'm also going to be able to hit that button and it'll map out the exact location I want to go to automatically. At that point in time, I can decide to go in here, reserve it, simple little sign-in method for authentication, and it becomes my workstation for that duration of time. The other thing I'm able to do is visitor management. So I'm able to go in here, go to visitor management, fill out a little bit of information as far as my name, email address, go through there and sign in. Automatically be able to let the person know that is hosting me. They can print a badge and be on my way without a lot of interference from the rest of the office. We are enabling hybrid office at Zoom better than anybody. If you don't know how we can do these things, get a hold of us and we can definitely help set this up. By the time, after 2 days and talking a lot, it's almost like an event hangover, like coming back from it.
Yeah, I found it getting back into at least your email and your chat is a lot easier now with AI Companion, because there was a lot of chats that were 50, 60 replies deep in my chat window. And so I was able to press one button and do a summary of that team chat message and read it within like less than a minute instead of the entire thread. And catching up with AI Companion was a lot easier with that regard. How do you think, though, over the last 3 days that we were here, how do you think things went for you?
I think it went pretty good. I can hold the mic, actually. You let him hold the mic. I want to hold the mic now.
You can hold the mic anytime.
The sweet Dorset tones of Tony Harris.
Yes, thank you. I enjoyed the whole thing. Interesting enough, I cheated a little bit because during our 3 days here, I took time to actually do emails and get back to people because we had some installs for Zoom Phone and some other things. So that was good. What I have to, I love Scheduler, right? I love the fact that I was able to block out this time, though, to make sure that when people schedule something, it didn't schedule me on a day that I was actually here working.
Yeah.
And the fact that in your scheduler, you can actually say, hey, I want someone to schedule something out to here, right? Don't schedule anything up until that time. So I absolutely have a ton of folks that schedule stuff, but they couldn't schedule it for this week, and I could preset that.
So the
that was
productivity features of Zoom helped you be more productive.
Absolutely.
I love that.
So the interesting thing about that, so with scheduling, correct me if I'm wrong. So generally, if I go to an event or something, I will take and book my entire day. If I know, like if we're going to be doing an event, 8 to 5, the entire day. But in truth, I may want certain internal meetings for that day. There's a good chance, like it's just the afternoon, just the morning. But with Scheduler, if my partners and other external people are using the Scheduler link, I can book the Scheduler. But the internal people, my teammates, my peers, they can still see my calendar and go, oh, maybe Eric has a few moments. So I kind of get the best of both worlds with that, if I'm not mistaken.
Pretty much. I kind of cheat and just leave it to where no one could schedule anything, period, right? I just shut it down. But the great thing is that it's open again, what's the day? Thursday, for Friday, right? Automatically.
Mine is not.
But they have to schedule it today to be for Friday.
Yeah.
If, in fact, they don't schedule until tomorrow, it's going to be scheduled Monday. Because I have it set literally for it has to be a day ahead of time, which I love. Which I like because sometimes a day in the life of Tony is I start off looking at my calendar. I start off looking at my schedule. And if I almost memorize it or put to memory what I have that day, I'm like, okay, in my mind, I have 5 meetings. But if I don't put that feature in there, a 6th or 7th meeting can creep in there and I don't know about it.
Yeah.
So I love the fact that our schedule allows you to do that.
Zoom Scheduler available with workplace licenses. So if you haven't checked it out yet, definitely implement it on your account.
See, I just crossed off Raven and wrote Sean.
Yeah, that was funny. Well, Raven couldn't join us, so instead we got Sean.
Let's say that.
We're on. We're recording.
Yes.
Yes.
So we've got a great time today, but really, we got a guest join us. Unfortunately, Raven couldn't make it though.
Raven couldn't make it, so I guess we'll have to settle for Sean. Have a seat.
There we go. I'm
We have-
between two guys on between two phones.
You are.
Feel honored.
Yeah.
As a replacement guest.
Well, we always love the fill-in guests because the fill-in guests we actually we have a better time with anyway.
More natural.
Not to say that Raven wasn't great, but actually we got the leader of our channel organization's partner. Let me start that over. We have our partner solutions engineering leader. Did I get that right?
I'll take it.
All right.
Global.
Global,
Yes.
worldwide.
Worldwide.
Why
Let me
don't
put
you
with
hold?
my hands though?
Why
Can I
don't
hold the mic?
Why don't you hold the mic? Because
yeah, there we go.
that makes it a little bit easier.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
What do I do with my hands? What movie is that from? I can't even remember.
Talladega Nights.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful moment.
Yeah.
That few seconds where Will Ferrell was still the burgeoning race car driver and doesn't know how to enter.
It was a great movie.
Do you owe them royalties now? Because we brought that up.
I don't think so. I mean,
It would be an honor if we had an audience size large enough to warrant their attention.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So this may be the first between two phones that I've actually done with gum in my mouth as well. So apologies for that. But we're actually here post-event on our Zoom Spaces Competency Boot Camp. I think I said that right. I've said it a lot in the past few days because we had a lot of partners that came through here. A good opportunity to talk about our competencies, one, because we have quite a few programs around that.
Yep.
And I know that is super important from a partner programs perspective. But what say you about this one? How do you think this one went, Sean?
Man, this one was cool. This one was different. Typically, our competency boot camps are classroom style, where we get about 50 or 60 people in a room. They just sit there. We give them some slideware, maybe do some demos, and then they go into hands-on labs. And we get really good feedback on that. But this time around, because it's spaces, and spaces equals a lot of equipment. We had a lot of gear here this week, guys.
It was a ton. There was.
Do we have counts on how much gear was here?
So, dollar figure wise, we were well into the 6 figures on value of gear. So between 2 Intelligent Director setups, the brand new Poly G62 setup, the QSYS room control setup, we had 2 different X52 Poly X52 setups. We had over 15 X30 setups, 2 different HP all-in-one stations, and the Shure setup that had all of their mics and just huge list of gear that all of the attendees got to touch and feel and interact, not just see a demo of or a video, but actually interact.
Yeah, we had 2 rooms this size that you see, and actually this is broken down now for, there's wires, there's tape everywhere, there's a desk full of knickknacks and coffee cups that are
Where's my
spent.
due, by the way?
Oh, it's right back
Yeah,
there.
you want your,
I'm good.
your guest provided drink,
Ah,
That is the cure for the post-event hangover.
a little caffeine,
Right,
Yeah.
we spend so much energy for 2 days and just ramping and excitement, and then that next day afterwards, you're kind of recovering. You're like, okay, I've got to check emails. I think I have this day job I have to do at some point in time.
It was a lot, yeah. Speaking of
You guys
gear,
ever stay on track? Well, the reason I say that is that was a ton of gear, and we couldn't have done it without 3 very wonderful sponsors in HP Poly, in QSYS, and in Shure. So thanks to them, we had rooms full of gear, as John said.
We did, and I think I heard Mike Petrie, who's very analytical, very down to the minute in terms of planning, a wonderfully executed logistical event where we had a bunch of stations where we had to switch between. But in all of this, he is the master of the gaff tape. I think he said that we had close to 3 trips around the diameter of the Earth of wires distributed throughout this event. So
We've determined he's
Miles
the
and miles.
Charlie Daniels of the gaffer tape.
Charlie Daniels of gaffer tape. Wow, that is an obscure reference of fiddle music, bridging together a technology event with gaff tape.
Which brings the world together,
Gaff taping it all together.
but also allows it to come apart without leaving a mess.
It does. Sean, talk about our other competencies, because I know we've got some other things planned, and I want to pick your brain for a moment for our partners to be able to see. Maybe you give them a little peek behind the curtain to say, what are we going to be doing in the months ahead, the next year, let's say. Let's give it a little bit forward-looking so they can start planning ahead.
Well, we have a ton of partner enablement that we do just as part and parcel of our jobs, and I won't hit that. But speaking of competencies, today we have, really I call them the big 3. We have phone, we have contact center, we have Spaces. Spaces was brand new. This was our first ever Spaces boot camp. And when I talked about it being a little bit different, instead of that classroom style, we moved through workstations. So people got to get up, move around.
I think that works really well.
Yeah, smaller groups.
Nobody fell asleep this time.
No, well,
That was that one guy.
Yeah.
That one guy.
yeah, anyway. But yeah, looking forward to the future. I think this fall here in the Americas we'll partner with my colleague Amy Roberts to do a technical ZCX, Zoom Customer Experience Boot Camp, focused really in on Zoom Contact Center. Coming around the corner into next year, actually staying in this year, we have our Accelerate series in North America, where we do 2-day, again, our partners can come in and get their competencies. So we're doing, I think, 2 more phone. We have Phoenix coming up.
Cool.
You'll
That's
be in Phoenix.
end
soon.
of August, right?
Yep.
I bet you John could put a link right here that would show right
I
where
love
it
how
is.
you always volunteer me for post-production. I love it.
Yes.
You're going to be there? You're going to be there.
I don't know. Maybe we put it in both places. Let's
like
just put it all around us.
Yeah, I like it. And then,
Here's my Friday.
and then our Rev Up series that are 1-day events where we talk more just about the platform. I think we have 2 or 3 more of those coming this year. I know one is Monday. Probably by the time you see this, it'll have come and gone, but in Minneapolis.
So Sean, real quick. So we have 1-day rev ups.
Yep.
2-day accelerates.
Yep.
And boot camps.
Correct.
Like, what's the target audience? Like, for the dozens of people that are watching this,
That's generous.
what's the target audience for each one of those?
Maybe I'll answer that a little bit different. Our Chief Revenue Officer, Mr. Graham Geddes, likes to challenge us to start with the why. And so why do we do these events? Meaning, what is the outcome we expect from these events? On the 1-day Rev Up, typically we're targeting audiences that need to get an accreditation. And an accreditation belongs to an individual. A competency belongs to a company.
Okay.
And accreditations are needed to get competency. And accreditation comes in 2 different formats. We have Zoom Sales Accreditation and Zoom
Those are-
Technical Sales.
ZSA, right?
ZSA.
And ZTSA, Zoom
Zoom.
Sales Accreditation, Zoom Technical
Correct.
Sales Accreditation.
So on the 1-day, we're really targeting folks that need to get that accreditation. That ends with a small online test. It's like 20 questions, right?
Maybe less.
And you exit the day typically with your with that accreditation. The 2-day Accelerate events, really, those are boiled down versions of our boot camps. They're typically 2 5.5, 6-hour days. And this is Zoom Comes to You. We'll go all over the Americas. We've been doing them in APAC fairly frequently as well. And really the outcome from that is potentially competency, or at least getting partners on the path to competency.
Okay.
Again, those competencies being phone, contact center, Spaces. And then the boot camps, those are the biggies. Those really the outcome we want to launch. I think this week we launched 26-ish net new Zoom Competent Spaces partners. These are the folks you want doing your installs. These are the partners you want selling you Zoom Spaces, Zoom Rooms, because they've been certified as competent by us this week. And And then, of course, twice a year, you only mentioned those three, but I'm going to bring up, really my passion project, and that's our technical summits.
Yes.
And this is all workloads. This is everything from chat and meetings where we started.
Everything we can cram into 2 days, pretty much.
2.5. We bleed into 3 days.
Go into 3 days.
So
But-
this is the entire viewfinder platform across from events, spaces, revenue accelerator.
You think they'll let me put that up right here?
Yeah, right here, and we can kind of frame it right
Yeah.
here. If you put
Yeah.
your hands up
Okay.
with me, and we
Goodies.
kind of frame it.
There goes my weekend now.
The whole weekend.
But those are awesome, and we typically do those in the spring and in the fall around Zoomtopia time. Those are global events. People fly in from all around the world to attend those. So that's in-person partner touch.
Yeah, a great event this week. Sean Olson, thank you so much for joining us here on Between Two Phones, our fearless global partner solutions engineering
I
leader.
appreciate it.
We appreciate you. Thank you for
This is
putting
my
this
excited voice, as you know.
on. I know.
And Raven, sorry we had to bump you. We'll make sure to get you on the next episode.
Sorry, man.
Thank you, folks, for joining us. We absolutely appreciate your time watching us, and we'll see you again.